when I came home early and overheard my husband promising his secret Nigerian wife that he'd drain my bank account and abandon me now that he'd gotten his U.S. citizenship through our marriage. I stood frozen in my hallway, realizing our entire relationship had been an elaborate green card scam. But he had no idea I was recording every word. I'm Ngozi, and 3 years ago I thought I'd found my perfect match at work. I was a senior operations manager at Tech Vision Solutions in Atlanta, Georgia, making 6 figures and living in my own townhouse in Buckhead. I'd worked my way up from an entry-level position over 8 years, and just 2 months before meeting Christopher, I'd finally received my U.S. citizenship after years of waiting. That little blue passport felt like the culmination of everything I'd sacrificed. Late nights studying, working multiple jobs, never giving up on my American dream. Christopher started at Tech Vision in May 2020 as a junior systems analyst. He was Nigerian like me, spoke Igbo fluently, and had this warm smile that reminded me of home. We'd run into each other in the break room, and he'd always ask about my day with genuine interest. "Sister Ngozi," he'd say with that respectful tone that made me feel valued. "You're doing such amazing work here. I hope to learn from you." As his supervisor, I maintained professional boundaries at first. But Christopher was persistent in the most charming way. He'd stay late to help me with projects, bring me Nigerian snacks from the African store on Buford Highway, and share stories about growing up in Lagos that made me laugh until my stomach hurt. He understood the struggle of being away from family, the loneliness of American winters, the constant pressure to prove yourself in a country that sometimes made you feel invisible. 6 months after he started, Christopher asked me out for dinner at this little Nigerian restaurant in Norcross. Over jollof rice and plantains, he told me how much he admired my strength and independence. "You're the kind of woman a man builds a future with," he said, reaching across the table to hold my hand. "Not just beautiful, but accomplished, respected, everything I've ever wanted." I fell for him completely. Looking back now, I can see how calculated every move was, but at the time it felt like the universe had finally rewarded my hard work with genuine love. We dated for 8 months before he proposed on Valentine's Day 2021 at Piedmont Park. It was simple and romantic, just us, a blanket, and a small velvet box. "Ngozi, you're my home in America," he said with tears in his eyes. "Will you make me the luckiest man and be my wife?" I said yes without hesitation. My friends warned me it was fast, that I should slow down, but I was 34 years old and tired of being alone. Christopher made me feel cherished in a way no one else ever had. We got married in August 2021 at a small courthouse ceremony with just a few friends present. I wore a cream dress from Nordstrom, and Christopher looked so handsome in his navy suit. After the ceremony, we filed his immigration paperwork immediately. As my spouse, he'd automatically qualify for permanent residency and eventually citizenship. I was happy to help him. Isn't that what wives do for their husbands? The first year of marriage was beautiful. Christopher was attentive, helpful, and always expressing gratitude for everything I did. He moved into my townhouse, contributed to bills, and we talked about starting a family once his status was more secure. By early 2022, he received his green card. By September 2022, he applied for citizenship. In January 2023, he was sworn in as an American citizen. I should have noticed how his behavior changed after that ceremony. He became distant, spent more time on his phone, and started making excuses about why he couldn't attend family events with me. When I'd try to discuss our future, he'd change the subject or pick a fight about something trivial. But I loved him, so I made excuses for his moods and convinced myself marriage was just going through a rough patch. Then came March 15th, 2023. A Wednesday morning I'll never forget. I'd left for work at my usual time, 7:30 a.m., but realized at the parking garage that I'd forgotten my wallet on the kitchen counter. I drove back home around 8:15, expecting to quickly grab it and leave. As I opened the front door quietly, not wanting to wake Christopher, who had the day off, I heard his voice coming from our bedroom. He was on the phone, speaking Igbo, laughing in a way I hadn't heard in months. "Baby wifey, I'm telling you, it won't be much longer now," he said, and my blood went cold. I stood frozen in the hallway, my hand still on the doorknob. The citizenship is secured. Now I just need to drain her account slowly so she doesn't notice. Maybe 6 more months, then I'll file for divorce, claim she was abusive, take half her assets in the settlement, and come back home to you and the children. Children, he said, children. You know I never loved her, he continued, his voice dripping with contempt. She's too Americanized, too bossy, but she was perfect for what I needed, established, good income, recently got citizenship so she understood the process. I played her so well, baby, told her everything she wanted to hear. You're my home in America, he mimicked in a mocking tone that made me want to vomit. My hands were shaking, but somehow I had the presence of mind to pull out my phone and start recording. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe some survival instinct kicked in. But I captured almost 10 minutes of him detailing his entire scheme to his wife in Nigeria. Yes, his wife. The woman he'd married in Lagos in 2017 before coming to America on a work visa in 2019. The mother of his 2 children who were waiting for him to get rich and send for them. Ngozi is so naive, he laughed. She actually believes I love her. The sex is terrible, and she's always trying to control me, but I played the humble husband perfectly. Now that I have my citizenship, she's served her purpose. I just need to secure the money first. I backed out of the house as quietly as I'd entered, got in my car, and drove to my best friend Amara's apartment in Midtown. When she opened the door and saw my face, she didn't ask questions, just pulled me inside and held me while I broke down completely. He used me, I sobbed. Everything was a lie. The proposal, the wedding, the talks about children, all of it was just to get his citizenship. Amara, who worked as a paralegal at an immigration law firm, listened to the recording with a stone-cold expression. Ngozi, this is fraud, marriage fraud. He could lose his citizenship and be deported for this. That's when something shifted inside me. The heartbreak was still there, crushing and real, but underneath it grew something harder and colder. Christopher thought he'd played me perfectly. He thought I was naive and too American to understand the game he was running. He was about to learn exactly how wrong he was. Amara connected me with her boss, an immigration attorney named Jennifer Walsh who specialized in marriage fraud cases. Over the next 2 weeks, I gathered everything. Bank statements showing his lack of financial contribution. Text messages where he'd made excuses to avoid family events. Photos from his Facebook page that I'd never been tagged in, because his Nigerian wife was in them, carefully cropped out of any pictures he'd shown me. Most importantly, I had that recording. 10 minutes of crystal-clear evidence of his scheme. Jennifer filed for divorce on my behalf in early April 2023, citing fraud and deception. But we didn't stop there. She also filed a report with USCIS, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, providing evidence that Christopher had obtained his green card and citizenship through a fraudulent marriage. Christopher was served with divorce papers at work. I'd moved out of the townhouse and stayed with Amara, getting a restraining order that prevented him from contacting me or accessing our joint accounts, which I'd already drained and moved to a new bank. When he realized what was happening, he tried everything. He called, texted, showed up at my workplace until security escorted him out. He claimed I was lying, that I was bitter because he'd asked for a divorce first. He got his own lawyer and tried to fight for spousal support and half the townhouse value. Then Jennifer played the recording in court. The divorce hearing was in June 2023. I sat in the Fulton County Courthouse with Amara beside me, watching Christopher squirm as his own words echoed through the courtroom. The judge, a young black man named Marcus Richardson, who couldn't have been older than 40, listened with an increasingly disgusted expression. Baby wifey, I'm telling you, it won't be much longer now. The citizenship is secured. I never loved her. I played her so well. Christopher's lawyer tried to claim the recording was taken illegally, that it violated his privacy. But Georgia is a one-party consent state for recordings, and since I was present in my own home during the conversation, it was perfectly legal evidence. Judge Richardson looked at Christopher with pure contempt. Mr. Ackhaffer, not only have you committed marriage fraud, You've also committed perjury in your immigration applications, where you swore under oath that your marriage was genuine. I'm granting Ms. Nwasu the divorce with no financial obligations to you whatsoever. Furthermore, I'm ordering a copy of this recording to be sent to USCIS and ICE for investigation into citizenship fraud. Christopher's face went gray. Your Honor, please. I'm not finished, the judge cut him off. You came to this country and exploited an innocent woman who worked hard for her status here. You made a mockery of our immigration system and the institution of marriage. If I had the power to deport you right now, I would. The divorce was finalized that day. I walked out of that courthouse with my freedom, my assets intact, and the satisfaction of watching Christopher realize his American dream was about to become a nightmare. Within 2 months, USCIS launched a formal investigation. By September 2023, Christopher received a notice that his citizenship was being revoked due to fraud. He hired multiple lawyers, spent thousands trying to fight it, but the evidence was overwhelming. Not just my recording, but the paper trail showing his wife and children in Nigeria, the money transfers he'd been sending them throughout our marriage, the social media posts that contradicted his sworn statements. In December 2023, Christopher's citizenship was officially revoked. He was given 30 days to leave the country voluntarily or face deportation proceedings. He left for Nigeria in January 2024, broke and humiliated, having spent all his savings on legal fees. But wait, remember Judge Richardson? About a month after my divorce was finalized, I ran into him at a coffee shop near the courthouse. He recognized me and approached carefully, professionally. Ms. Nwasu, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but I wanted you to know that your case stuck with me. What you went through, it took real strength to stand up for yourself like that. We started talking, just casual conversation about Atlanta and how hard the city could be for newcomers. He told me he'd immigrated from Jamaica as a teenager, worked his way through law school, and had a deep appreciation for people who earned their place in America honestly. We exchanged numbers. He called a week later and asked if I'd like to have dinner. Completely proper, I promise. I just really enjoyed talking to you. I was hesitant at first. My trust in men was shattered, but Marcus was patient. He took things slow, never pushed, and showed me through consistent actions over months that he was genuine. We talked about everything: our families back home, the pressure of professional success, the loneliness of building a life in a new country. We started officially dating in October 2023. By December 2024, he proposed. We married in March 2025 in a beautiful ceremony with both our families present. My mother flew in from Nigeria, and his entire extended family came from Jamaica. The difference between this marriage and my first is like night and day. Marcus shows up for me every single day. He celebrates my success, encourages my ambitions, and treats me like a true partner. We bought a house together in Alpharetta, and we're expecting our first child in August. Sometimes I think about Christopher and wonder if he's back in Lagos telling people how America cheated him, how his wife betrayed him. I wonder if he takes any responsibility for his actions, or if he still sees himself as the victim. I don't hate him anymore. Honestly, I'm grateful. His betrayal taught me to trust my instincts, to value myself enough to demand honesty, and to never settle for someone who sees me as a transaction instead of a person. Here's what I learned from this experience. First, if someone's behavior changes dramatically after receiving something they wanted from you, whether it's citizenship, money, or status, that's not a rough patch, that's their mask slipping. Second, always document suspicious behavior even when you hope you're wrong, because evidence protects you when love blinds you. Third, immigrants who earn their place honestly shouldn't feel guilty about reporting immigration fraud. We worked too hard to let scammers abuse the system we respect. Christopher thought he could use me as a stepping stone and discard me when I'd served my purpose. Instead, he lost everything he schemed for while I found real love with someone who values the same things I do: integrity, hard work, and building a genuine partnership. Some people see kindness as weakness. They learn too late that underestimating a strong woman is the biggest mistake they'll ever make. If this story resonated with you, share your own story in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. I will see you in the next video.